To get exceptional results, you must follow an unconventional path. Do what everyone else does, end up like everyone else. And what do the vast majority of people do? They end up spending time consuming other people's lives, chasing meaningless existences, whether that be through work, materialistic possessions, relationships that are superficial, admiring other people's lives via social media, reality TV, settling for a mediocre life that they know they could do more of, but because of their mindset and their constant procrastination, they never go on to achieve the things that they truly could that would bring them a fulfilling life. Myself personally, I've led a very unconventional life so far. Has it been successful? Have I made mistakes? 100% along the way. That is always going to be the case. And would I change things? Yeah, I would. And I think that's the way you have to accept that life is always going to be. But I decided to make this video because I believe there's a lot of cheat codes that you can use in your life to make your life better, more fulfilling, and a lot more easier. And like I said, I'm 25, so there's still a lot for me to learn. But these are some things that I've picked up at an early age that can make you transform your life, make it a lot better. And like I say, if you just follow what everyone else does, you're just going to end up with the same results. And especially if you're from the UK, US, a lot of people live these lives that we are told to chase the career, go for a higher salary, chase the promotions, keep up with the Joneses, be with a certain type of person, XYZ, all of this stuff that pretty much is becoming mainstream that is not making us happy. And yet still a lot of people irrationally follow these choices, follow what they're told, follow their parents, whatever it may be. And yeah, it's not bringing them the right results that they want and their potential that is out there, which is the saddest thing to see, I believe. So number one, travel in winter if you're from Europe. So I'm from the UK myself. It's winter right now. It's currently the middle of February. It's absolutely freezing here. And I believe now is an amazing time to go away. And I really don't understand why a lot more people don't take advantage. I know automatically a lot of people be like, yeah, I've got kids, I can't take them out of school or whatever, or my job or whatever. But the advantages of going away in the winter compared to the summer are, the ROI on that is huge. Because like I said, the weather in the UK for 9-10 months of the year is pretty atrocious. We barely see any sun throughout the year. We maybe have a good kind of patch from around May time to September, where we might see, about a month's worth of sunshine, where it's going to be 20 plus degrees consistently. So I think that, and this has been a massive impact that I've seen on myself and the vast majority of people's mental health, is the lack of vitamin D we have. The lack of sunlight we see on a day-to-day, like the last 3 weeks or so, it's pretty much rained every single day. And it's 100% genuinely a fact that a lot of people are struggling with this, and it has a massive effect on how we feel mentally. And yeah, probably why so many people are so miserable in this country. And you see as people get older, they just end up leaving anyway. They go to Spain and Portugal and spend 6 months or 9 months, or even go and live there fully, go to Australia, wherever it may be, because it's as simple as the sun is not shining here and it is shining over there, and it makes such a difference to your day-to-day life and how you feel every single day. And also you can get such better deals when it comes to trips. Like, you could travel to the other side of the world, for example, go to Southeast Asia, go to South America, even places like Australia, and everything is going to be a lot cheaper to go at that time of year because everyone else isn't doing it. Whereas in the summer, naturally, obviously people are taking their kids out of school and think summer's a great time to go away because the weather in Europe is a lot better, it's a lot warmer, so people travel a lot more. Again, it rises everything, the cost of everything, the time it takes, everything's delayed. Like, it literally doesn't really make sense to go away in Europe. Like, I'll probably go away for a few nights in the UK summer this year because I don't think it's very beneficial. And if I go, it will probably be around like May time, where it's actually warm, really nice in some places like Spain and Portugal, where you can go for a week or so. You miss all the crowds, it's cheaper, it's not boiling hot, because places around the continent, you go to Spain and Portugal in July and August and it can be too hot anyway. So that's something that has such a big advantage. You go away, you take December or January or February, you go away for 3 weeks, a month, 6 weeks, and have a great time somewhere, and you come back and feel completely refreshed because you've had the sun shining on you for the last 6 weeks or so. You know, you come back and everyone else is like, okay, now you look like a different person, your complexion's all changed, you feel just so better about yourself because you've done that. And yeah, definitely going forward, and I've spoken to a lot of people older than me, which is again is probably another cheat code that I've not included in this video, that they say that yeah, go away in the winter because your life will be so much better to do so, because everything, like I say, is cheaper, the weather's better, no one else is doing it, you get so much more, you know, bang for your buck at the end of the day. Everything is better to go away in winter. So I understand, you know, it's not possible. You say I've got kids, whatever, my job, my, you know, studying, whatever makes it somewhat not possible, but there's probably somewhat of a limiting belief in that, and that if you really wanted to and you saw the benefits of doing this, then that could be something you could start to implement into your life now. The next one is investing boring. So this comes to real estate, stocks, such as, you know, something like waste management or banks or stuff that, you know, people are using on a day-to-day basis. And if you look at the history, you go on any investment app, you see the kind of trajectory that this stock has taken over the last year, 3 years, whatever. And you pretty much know it's always going to go up. Yeah, it's not going to give you 100% return every 3 months. Of course it's not. But it's going to give you a steady income and also appreciation over time. And especially if you're young, this is something you should be getting into as early as you possibly can. Do your research, of course. And again, this is not financial advice. But if you can start to get into these stocks early, especially stocks that do pay you dividends, so they might pay you quarterly dividends of around 1 to 3%, which will be a nice little income. You know, you could get 10, 20, 30 pounds every 3 months. This over time, yeah, it sounds like nothing, especially nowadays. What can you get for 10, 20 pounds? Not a lot nowadays. But over time, you know, if you get an extra £100 a year from holding these stocks that pay you dividends, that appreciate of a rate around 8 to 12%, which a lot of these kind of stocks you look at, you know, they do that. Look at someone like Warren Buffett, obviously the most successful investor of all time currently. You look at the types of things he's invested in, stocks that actually don't even appreciate. I've actually looked at some of his portfolio and some of it's actually down year on year, and the way he's done this is because of dividends. And you do that over 40, 60 years, you'll earn probably hundreds of thousands of pounds by just that compound effect of that stock going up in value, that appreciation of 8 to 12%, and getting that quarterly dividends of, you know, 1 to 3%. And obviously real estate is a separate commodity, but investing in real estate early, I've just bought my first house, I'm going to do a video on that soon, and yeah, I see that as a very, very good method of building wealth. Obviously, you know, times are very uncertain. I understand it's very difficult to get property nowadays for young people, due to circumstances that were out of my control and things that I'd prefer not to have happened. I've been able to do so. Also, you know, sacrificing certain things when I was younger allowed me and put me in this position to do so. But getting into real estate early, people say get on the property ladder, but yes, do it as an investment, do it as in terms of rental. You look at that as a gain, not just buying a house to live in and that's it, because that, like, for me financially, I'd prefer to invest in stocks, whatever it may be, because that's an investment. But you want to see it as an investment. Obviously, yes, everyone needs a home, 100%. We all want a base, especially when you're younger and you get to your 20s and maybe you've been to university, lived out, you know, and be like, you know what, I don't want to go back to living with my parents. Understandable, a lot of people don't. And this can be a great method, because then you can go and live in this house, and then you could also rent the rooms out to friends or people you may know. And obviously you've got a base, 2, you're going to get income, so you can start paying off your mortgage. This is an asset that's going to appreciate. And obviously there's a lot of methods you can use with property, such as remortgaging, which you can then take equity out and use to buy another property, or use something towards your business or just your lifestyle. So it's a very good thing to do. And again, with any type of investment, the earlier you get involved, the better it will be, the more enhance your life, and you will be, yeah, like I say, with a lot of things, you'll be gobsmacked at the compounding returns that you will get from this. And the next point kind of links quite smoothly onto this, is become an investor before a consumer. So a lot of us have iPhones, a lot of us have the latest tech and stuff. we're spending time on social media. But if you actually take a back step and look like, okay, Apple, okay, that's a good stock because a lot of people are buying it. That's something over the last 10, 12 years that's, become extremely mainstream. Every kind of person, even in poor countries, people have iPhones nowadays. So you should think, okay, before I buy my first iPhone, maybe I should have invested in Apple, invest in the stock that created this product. And I kind of look at this on my day-to-day life. Okay, what do I use? I've got an iPhone myself. Maybe it'd be a wise idea to buy some Apple stock if it's something you use. Even you look at stuff, especially like boring stuff like insurance and stuff, you're like, okay, I need this. It's something that you need again every single day. And you'd be like, okay, before I take out an insurance quote, whatever it may be, maybe I should look at investing in this company. Obviously, yes, it's not 100% always going to be the case that they're a very well-performing company. I understand, things can go wrong financially. They might, have a difficult period. But if it's kind of a company that you've seen become kind of mainstream and one of the kind of front runners of any type of industry, it's probably a good idea to invest in this. And then you basically kind of can see it as like, I'm getting these products for free because I'm investing, especially in a lot of these bigger companies that will pay you dividends anyway over the long run. So that's something that I don't think a lot of people do think of. It's very obvious, but maybe just invest in that company if you truly believe their products are good and you're using them on a day-to-day basis. There's probably a reason for that, and you can actually benefit from that a lot more financially than just consuming. Next one is taking your time in life day to day. You either go 100% or zero, I think. So I think a lot of us, we've been brought up in this culture, especially if you're someone in your 20s, where it's like hustle, 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 and you either, you're either a bum if you like take a day off, or like you've got to be, this alpha kind of person who's, alpha male, gonna go work all the hours in the day, do all of this stuff that is probably not yielding your best results. And I think it's a lot more beneficial for you to kind of just do 2-3 hours of deep work every single day. I've kind of made videos on this before, but when it comes to anything in life, your work, your relationships, your fitness, all of the kind of main kind of, benchmarks in your life that you want to, advance and become the best version of yourself in, you want to go 100% in these, or if not, the rewards are just not going to be there. So instead of kind of going like, being all wishy-washy and stuff and not actually going full, just don't do it at all, and rest up and take some time to think, how am I going to get this to the next level? And if you're not fully committed to something, like, just don't commit to it all, because it's probably not really going to benefit you at all. Like, you'd probably be a lot more beneficial actually spending that time resting, which is something that, seems soft and stuff, and people don't talk about too much nowadays, but it's very important, especially when it comes to your sleep and just like resting, just kind of like just sitting there and not doing a lot. People really, really struggle to do that nowadays. You see it, like, people always have to be doing something. They can't just sit there, watch a nice film, just hang out with their friends, girlfriend, whatever it may be, by themselves. Even more so, people extremely struggle with that because of the constant stimulation we have in our world nowadays. But you will see your life will get so much better if you decide, okay, all the tasks I'm going to do my best for this. I'm not going to get distracted. I'm going to give it my absolute all. And then when I'm not doing that, I'm just going to spend some time relaxing. Like, it will change your life. You'll be so much better off doing this, because your results will be sky high compared to most people who are giving 10, 20, 30, 40% things here and there and getting pretty very, very mediocre results. And again, this kind of gives a like greater picture to their life. Their life will end up, the results from the work they put in ends up like mirroring this, and their life is kind of like that. It's kind of like, I wouldn't really want their life like, their life's not too bad, but it's not great, it's not extremely desirable. And next one is working like contracted jobs and part-time jobs over full-time jobs. So this is kind of something that I've used a lot over the last few years, because I went to university, studied a degree, kind of thought it was pretty pointless. I think uni in a whole for like 90% of people is a complete waste of time. 3-4 years plus, a lot of people are doing masters, PhDs nowadays. And yeah, I believe it's a waste of time. I've been pretty much on that. I'm someone who's been to uni, and I still say that. And obviously over the years, like, people give me stick for it, but from a lot of people I've spoke to who've done degrees and they've ended up getting a job which they could have got anyway. They've not done anything with that degree. I actually did try and do something with my degree. I did give it a good go, and I decided, like, this is horrible. I don't want to sit at a desk. This is not a way any human being should be living their life. They shouldn't be working at a desk for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, and yeah, only getting 2 days in return for a very mediocre salary, mediocre benefits. There's just, yeah, I won't get too deep into that, but I'll talk more about the benefits of working like a contracted or part-time job. And the main thing, and which is absolutely priceless, is your freedom, because this is what we all truly desire as human beings. Having autonomy over our life is extremely important. More and more people are realizing this every single day, and I think the way the world's going with AI, with the way jobs are going, that we will get more freedom. I think a lot more people do have that nowadays, which is good to see, because it's how we should be living. We should have freedom over our lives, and by doing this you can still earn a decent amount of money. And you could do a contracted job for 3 months, then take a month off and keep doing this, and you would probably still end up earning just as much as someone with a full-time job, and you also wouldn't be getting taxed as much consistently as them. You just wouldn't have that comfort of being on sick pay or all of this types of stuff. And yes, you wouldn't have that set kind of cushy income, and I understand that a lot of people like that consistent income and consistency of routine into their life. It can work for a lot of people, but yeah, I just don't think it's a good way to push your potential and actually have a great life for anyone, really. I don't really think anyone can convince me otherwise that long term you want to do that. Of course there's a time and place for it. You might do it for a few years, especially when you're younger, when you've got the time, when you can basically work full time, and then in your spare time you've got quite a lot of time to kind of do what you want. You could work on a business, you could go to the gym, you can spend time with your friends, you have a lot of spare time still, but you have family, your kids, and you're still working a 9-to-5 job in your 40s. Like, for me, that's not a good life whatsoever. The next one is travel to unconventional places. So a lot of people, especially people around my age, will want to go on the lads' holidays, go to Benidorm, go to Ibiza, go to these kind of places that's just an excuse to get drunk, do what they do in their hometown, but do it in the sun. And I've experienced that somewhat and realized how awful these kind of holidays are. They're an absolute waste of time. You end up spending loads of money on stuff that doesn't benefit your life. You don't feel any better. You don't really create any memories because you're drunk half the time. You don't feel well. You probably come back with some type of illness because your sleep schedule's a mess. You barely slept. Your diet's been awful. You probably barely ate. You've not drank anything but alcohol. That's all that's pretty much inside your system. You've been around people that are probably not very hygienic, not very types of people that you want to be around whatsoever. Like, there's just no benefit to really doing that. Like, for me, I guess I think it is good to try things once and be like, okay, yeah, I've done it now. If you feel the need to do it, that's for me why I did it, but never again doing those types of holidays. But go somewhere, I thought the other day, like, I'd go to somewhere like Russia. Why not? Because it's so unconventional. Like, I know obviously politically, I probably couldn't go to Russia right now, but go into these kind of unconventional places and be like, what, the culture is so different to going to just going to Spain, going to Portugal. There's all kind of much of a much. A lot of, when you've done some parts of Europe, you realise, okay, yeah, go into Eastern Europe. I can do one country and realise a lot of them pretty much have the same culture. So I think you're a lot more beneficial to kind of go into places and realising, okay, this is completely different to what I'm used to. And even if you go to some part of the country, it could be somewhat different to another part. And yeah, I just think the experiences you gain from doing that. Like, for me, I've wanted to go to South America for a long time, and I'm planning on doing so quite soon. And like, I just feel like people say, like, oh, okay, dangerous out there. Don't think I'd do that. Completely understand that. There's a lot of risks and stuff with, anywhere you travel to nowadays, but you understand why people say that, I guess, more so about somewhere like that, due to its history and, certain political kind of economic kind of standpoints. But going to somewhere like just going to Thailand and sitting on a beach and stuff for a month doesn't really do much for me. I don't think I'd really gain too much. Would I do it at some point? Yeah. But I just think whatever it's for you, everyone wants to do different things, especially when it comes to travel, see different places, but go to places that are a bit more, unusual and be like, I haven't been there. You speak to people that I've never even heard of that place, or like you will gain a lot more for yourself and come back with experience and a different kind of mindset than you would than just having a holiday in the sun, sitting around a, all-inclusive hotel that a lot of British people seem to do. And the next one is drink very little when it comes to alcohol, but when you do, get something like a vodka lime soda, a single kind of, spirit and a lime soda, because, massively reduces the calories. You will actually feel the benefits of alcohol by doing this. You could have one or two of these when you go out and you will feel pretty good. You'll feel a buzz, but your energy will still be pretty high because the calories are quite low. And also you're just not consuming a load of rubbish and stuff that's in beer and stuff. Like, obviously, is this optimal? Of course not. But when you're young, you still want to go out and have a nice time. I've had a lot of decent nights out and stuff. I've been to places and abroad or two, and it's been a lot better sometimes when you have a drink, and it can be a very good social lube for you. Like, that has helped a lot, especially when it comes to meeting new people. But I always think, have one or two, have a nice time. Do it for the purpose of socializing and because you enjoy it, rather than doing it from drinking perspective and getting like, I just need to get drunk because I'm trying to escape something. And that is what a lot of people are doing at the end of the day. They're doing it because their reality is not very good. If their life was great, they wouldn't feel the need to drink very much. Like, they might like alcohol and drink occasionally, but if they're getting drunk regularly, like, their life is just not good. Like, and there's no top and bottom of that. So yeah, just doing that, like, I think it's such a cheat code, and also you save so much money by just getting like a vodka lime soda or something. It's going to cost you a few pounds. People spend hundreds of pounds on going out, beers with the boys and stuff every weekend. Like, it's just silly. Doesn't benefit your life. Your health will massively deteriorate. You'll have way less energy. You'll have way less drive, way less focus. There's literally no benefit at all to drinking alcohol other than it being a good thing socially and, having a nice time, which I completely understand. I've done it. Next one is rising early in the morning and fasting too. So I kind of believe I think it was Brian Tracy I heard about eating the frog, and this is something that's kind of stuck with me since I kind of got into self-improvement, and that getting up early and getting stuff done, getting those important tasks done that move the needle is so important in your day to day, and kind of how you start your morning kind of shapes the rest of your day. So when you get up and do productive stuff, you might have the night before written down 3 or 4 tasks that you need to do. You get those stuff done, even if you wake up like 7 a.m. Like, it's really not early. Like, everyone can get up at 7 a.m. And honestly, you probably don't even need to get up that much early if you're actually productive and do the stuff, like I say, going back to that 100% or 0. You do those tasks that actually move the needle. You don't have to get up at 4 or 5 a.m. like you see on social media. Some people enjoy that. It works for some people. Some people need to for their kids, their job, etc. for a time being. I get it. But, if you are younger, you don't have the commitment. You probably don't even need to get up at that early. But you can go to bed at 11, wake up at 7, you've had 8 hours sleep. What are you doing past 11 o'clock? Absolutely nothing productive. I believe past about 8 p.m. at night, no one's doing anything productive. It's up to you what you do at that time. But realistically, the best thing you can do is relax, spend some time with friends, family, watch something, chill yourself out for a few hours. That is the best thing you're going to do with your time. Like, trying to mess around with something, like saying you're hustling, building a business, for most people, it's a lie. They're wasting their time. They're not gaining anything from doing that. And you hear people being, I'm a night owl and all this. Again, I don't believe it. I just believe their system's out of sync, and if they actually started to get up early for a few days in a row, 3 days, that would transform their life, and they'd realise how much better their life is if they started just getting back into their circadian rhythm, which is obviously natural for all of us to kind of rise when the sun comes up, go to sleep when it's dark at night. I understand, again, in the UK, it can be really dark till like 8 a.m, December, January, and even now it's getting a bit lighter around 7:30 or so, but it can be really dark. It gets dark early too. But like I say, you will get so much more done by doing this. Like I say, some people will have to get up early. It depends if they have a 9-to-5 job, depends what they have to do, their commitments and stuff. But whatever, you probably know for yourself, okay, you don't have that commitment. Okay, I don't need to get up too early. I can kind of get up a few hours. I can get 4 or 5 things done that are really going to move the needle in my life and transform, and also make you feel a lot better. And again, for the rest of the day, your life is going to be so much easier because you don't have to think at 3-4 p.m. when you're kind of feeling a bit more sluggish and you kind of want to relax or spend time with your friends. Okay, I've got to do that thing, because you've done that thing early when realistically you're not even going to do anything socially at that time anyway, so you may as well get the things done and, like I say, go 100% on that. And yeah, fasting too, such a big difference to my life. I've not ate anything so far today. It's almost 11. Been up for 4 or 5 hours. I feel so much better. I've just had a coffee and that's all I've had, and your focus is so much better. I know for a fact if I was to record this video after I've just eaten a full English breakfast or something like that, I just ate a load of carbs, like, I would pretty much feel so different. I wouldn't be able to focus. I wouldn't be able to speak so freely. And that's just so important, especially when you're trying to do deep work. And like I say, you have that most energy in the morning. And like, this is just a catalyst. This just enhances it by fasting it. And like, the longer you can keep that going, for some people, I understand, you know, health conditions, medical, whatever, they might not be able to go for that period of time, whatever. But whatever works for you, again, everything is so subjective to you, but I definitely believe that everyone can go a good few hours without eating in the morning. Like, you don't need to stuff your face. Like, ancestrally, we've never done this, so you know, it's natural for us to kind of go for a few hours and do something and feel like, you know, okay, I've earned it now. I've actually done something productive with my life. I feel like I've earned it. You'll feel so much better in multiple facets, like I say. And the next one, again, kind of links to it, is stretching. So this is something that young people do neglect massively. Stretching every time you go to the gym. I go there and people probably look at me a bit weird, like, why is this guy stretching all the time? But you feel so much better, and your workout is so much better after you stretch. So I go to the gym around 5 times a week currently. That's worked really well for me. You know, I don't really like to take rest days, but I feel in my body and I listen to my body, because I feel like that's very important that we all do this. And every time I go, you know, nearly every time I go, probably 90%, unless I'm in a rush, I will stretch before the gym, before I do something, especially lift anything heavy. And you feel so much better, because like, I was getting so many injuries before I was stretching, like nothing crazy, but I get constant pains and stuff in my back and shoulders and stuff, and you will feel awful. And like, over time especially, like, you probably think, yeah, whatever, like, stretching would be nice, but you kind of neglect it. You do it once and then you forget again for another 3 weeks. But as you get older, you will feel so much better when you go to the gym, and your workouts will pretty much be at ease if you've kind of done this consistently. It's like building that body. You've like been to the gym for the last 5-10 years. Now when you train, it's so easy. Like, you don't really need to do a lot. Like, you can just kind of push like 20%, and someone who started in their mid-30s can give 100%, but they will not get the results that you've done because you started so early. And that's probably the biggest cheat code to all life, is just starting things early. And yeah, like I say, stretching is massive. And yeah, I hope if you are younger, obviously start as soon as you can, especially if you're a bit older, because it is going to catch up with you anyway. There's nothing any of us can do that. And another one that I probably haven't really mentioned is getting massages. So I had a massage a few weeks ago, and it felt so good to get a massage, having a full body massage. And people are like, well, it's expensive and stuff. Yeah, it might be. It might cost you £100 for a full body massage, but if you get that once a month, it costs you £1,000 a year. You know, 1.2k. You go off 12 months. It's not really that much of a money for most people. And you think what you probably spend that on if you actually were, you know, intentional about how you lived your life, intentional about how you spend your money specifically, you probably spend way more on that, on garbage that doesn't benefit your life, buying clothes, nights out, buying things for people that you don't really care about, buying shit around your house that offers no benefit to your life, doesn't make your life any easier, you know, rubbish, garbage food, all of this stuff. Something that would genuinely enhance your life in the here and now, make you feel great, and in the long run, for me, it's worth its weight in gold, 100%. The next one is doing things on your own. Again, something that a lot of young people struggle with. Going to a coffee shop, you know, traveling abroad, maybe starting a martial art or something like that. This is something that you want to start as soon as possible, because it makes your life so much easier. It makes you feel so much more confident when you walk into any room and stuff and be like, you're doing it on your own, you'd be like, I've done it before, you know, go to a restaurant on your own, go to the cinema on your own, why not? And it's going to feel weird at first, because when I first did it, and naturally I'm very introverted, and I guess this can be somewhat of a benefit because I don't mind spending time on my own, but I would definitely feel very conscious about going to places on my own, even a coffee shop. And yeah, this was difficult, but now it kind of feels pretty normal to do that because I've done it so much. You kind of like, you just get exposure to anything in life. You feel it becomes easy, so you want to start doing that early. And I know, like I say, a lot of young people don't like doing things independently, but you realize, okay, I can do this. And when it comes to kind of anything, you'd be like, I'll do it on my own. Like, people are letting you down, because so many years, you know, when I've been growing up, people have let me down, and you're like, I'll do it by myself. I can do it by myself. I've proven it to myself, and it's actually quite enjoyable. And the more you do that, you realize, you know, obviously you don't want to live a very, you know, independent life where you do everything on your own. You'll get lonely, of course, I'm not saying that at all, but knowing you have the ability, and when people do let you down, and when you just feel like, I want to spend some time on my own and I'm actually going to enjoy it, that is kind of a new level of freedom that you develop from doing these types of things, doing things on your own, going for a coffee, reading a book and not thinking anything of it, minding your own business. Like, you will feel so much better. And the next one, you want to do things quickly so people won't question you. And this is kind of a very psychological one, but if you kind of like walk in and stuff, and maybe you walk into a room that you're not meant to be in, but you act confident, you do it quickly, you know, you speak to people, you're really polite, no one really assumes anything of you, and you really realize like how psychological this is, that people don't like, if I was working or something and someone just walked past me, or I was in a room and someone was there that I didn't know, but they, you know, they spoke to me well, they acted confident, you'd never really think anything of it. So you want to just do things quickly, you know, just get things done. Like, don't like act nervous, and people can tell it in your body language when you walk in a room. And obviously, again, it probably won't feel natural to you first, but you start doing this and you realize, okay, this shit actually works, and it will make your life better, because, you know, people aren't going to question you every time. And, you know, you maybe initially you're not invited into, you know, conversations, into rooms that you feel you want to be in, you maybe even deserve to be in, but you have to kind of like stamp your own authority on it and be like, I'm meant to be here, and be like, yeah, let's just get this done. People don't question you. Get into places that, you know, you've not been invited to. Very good cheat code, I think. Going to the gym at like 10 a.m. on a weekday, what a good feeling that can be. And obviously this is, again, people say I can't go to the gym at 10 a.m, but it is a massive cheat code, because I feel, for me, training at that sort of time when you've been awake for a few hours, like after this video I'm going to train at the gym, I've been fasting, I've drank a coffee, like I've done some work this morning, which feels good. And I know I'll get there and I'll pretty much be able to do anything I want. I'll be in and out so much quicker. It would probably take me double the amount of time if I was to train at, say, 5 p.m, when a lot of people do after their jobs and stuff. And also, I would have way less energy to do so, because, you know, naturally the vast bulk of my energy throughout the day has been drained. I've used it elsewhere, I've used my resources elsewhere. And yeah, it just wouldn't feel the same anymore. Like, I really don't like to train in the evening, mainly just because of the energy standpoint. Like, I've probably ate quite a lot already throughout that day. I've had like at least one major meal, and I just don't feel the same. And like I say, it's so busy, and it just kind of ruins, like, going on a weekday, you feel so much better, and you're like, okay, I don't have to be anywhere either. Like, I'm not working another job. Like, you think all the people who work in unfulfilling jobs at that time too, it kind of feels very like sweet in that moment too. And that this kind of links to a point that I've just mentioned about eating, which is have 2 meals a day instead of 3. So I don't think that we need to eat 3 meals a day, and it benefits your life so much more, because you'll have those periods where you are hungry, but you have the focus to go and do that. And because you're hungry to chase your goals and be successful too. And you will just get so much more done. You'll feel so much better. You don't need to eat as much stuff as a lot of us do. I understand, you know, when you're in the gym and stuff, you want to bulk up, and this can kind of compromise it. But in the long run, you know, day to day, especially holistically, as you get older, you don't need to be eating so much food, and just kind of eat 2 very high protein, high nutritional meals throughout the day. You know, it obviously, again, depends on the times you wake up. You want to have it, you know, maybe like 4 hours after you wake up, have a decent meal after you've had a good block of a couple of hours work. And then again later in the evening, maybe 3-4 hours before you go to bed. Again, I'm not a nutritionist. Use your own kind of how it works for you, because obviously the science and stuff will tell you, you know, this, but whatever works for you. But obviously we all know we don't want to eat too close to going to bed, so maybe, you know, 3 hours, 4 hours, whatever works for you before going to bed is the time you want to eat, and it will save you so much. You'll get so much more done, which is the most important thing. We all want to maximize our day, of course we do, and it's just being smart about this and being calculated in how we make that the most efficient, and that is one of the most important things. And the final one I've got, I know this video has been quite a long time, but I have really enjoyed making it, and hopefully you've learned some good things, is move with speed and learn fast. So obviously I mentioned do things quickly, but this is kind of a different point. So you want to learn fast. So when it comes to like starting this YouTube channel, and for you, if you want to start a YouTube channel, start content creation, start a business, start the gym, you just gotta move fast and fucking make loads of mistakes, because that's how you learn. And like, if you're doing stuff at such a slow pace, your rate of learning is gonna be so slow. And then what's that going to affect? That's going to massively affect your confidence and also the results. And that's the bigger picture we look at. And the quicker you can do this, the quicker you can get results. And the quicker you can then, you know, implement different things. You can tweak stuff. You want to be able to, you're going to learn stuff a lot along the way. What works? What doesn't work? Make a note of this. You know, you want to, when you make a mistake, you want to make sure that you learn from it, because that's the most important thing. We're all going to make mistakes, that's good, but we have to learn from it. And the quicker you do that, the more mistakes you make, the quicker you're going to learn, the quicker you can get better results in your life. And I know it feels uncomfortable naturally for me. I don't feel like doing this naturally, like moving with a lot of speed and making mistakes and trying new things, but it's just how it works in life with anything, whether it comes to your business, your career, you know, relationships, meeting someone new. You just got to keep trying things, fucking up and iterating, do it again and again and again until you get the things that you want in your life. And I think that it's just going to be so important in transforming your life and getting you the things you want and living a certain lifestyle, whatever it is that you want in your life. You're just going to have to keep iterating time and time and time again. And then you realize I've made all the mistakes pretty much, and like I can't really do much more, and I don't really care again either if I make mistakes, because I've made so many over time. And you kind of do live life on easy mode, and then you can then help other people with those. That's what I try and do now. Will I make more mistakes? 100%, but I think I've learned so much because I have made so many mistakes, and that's why I wanted to make this video. And things haven't gone exactly how I wanted to go. Things are out of your control a lot of the time, yeah, of course, but you can only control the controllables and the things in your life. A lot of us can do that, whether we realize it or not. A lot of people don't want to admit that, but you definitely can. So just, yeah, move with speed with everything you do and learn fast. That's my last cheat code for this video. Maybe there'll be a part 2. I hope you've enjoyed it. I think I've got through a lot today. You know, this has been over a 35-minute video, so I really hope it has helped you. I've really enjoyed making it. As I say, a lot more content coming. My one-to-one personal coaching link is in the description. I've got an online school community coming soon, so if you want to join that, just check the channel out, and that'll be coming in the next few weeks or so. Yeah, like and subscribe. I hope I'll see you soon. Take care now.